Hello, welcome to my next Dana Scully from the X-Files transformation. Now, first things first, I have got this long mermaid pandemic hair, which just will not do for season 4 Dana Catherine Scully. So, for this very special video, I will be wearing a wig. So I will first need to put my hair up and secure it under a wig cap. To do that, I'm going to split my hair in half and then in half again and tightly braid those sections. So I'll end up with 4 braids. I'll then twist these braids and secure them in place with bobby pins before putting my wig cap on. Now, my wig cap came with the wig that I'm going to wear, but you can also buy them at any beauty supply store. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If not, welcome back. I am a huge fan of the X-Files. I'm a huge fan of makeup, so I have over the years been doing Dana Scully season by season makeup and hair transformations. For every other Scully video that I've done, I have used my own hair. And whenever I do a video, I go get a haircut. So that's how I end up with short hair, just to make Scully videos. But with salons closed for most of this year, I thought I would take this opportunity to invest in a Scully wig. Since I can't get my own haircut, it's time for a wig, specifically this gorgeous gal. When I came across this wig on Etsy, it gave me the idea to combine my love of the X-Files with my love of drag. So, thus, I'm going to attempt to show you Dana Scully as a drag queen. Otherwise known as Dana Scully as a slut. Okay, so with my hair up, we are ready to start. And because this will be a drag transformation, the first step, of course, is to cover my eyebrows. I'm first taking a cotton pad with some rubbing alcohol and running it all over my brows to ensure that all the moisture is gone and the glue will adhere well. Then I'm going to take the purple Elmer's glue stick and really work it into the brow hairs, kind of in circular motions, moving back and forth. This first layer of glue should really try to get onto every brow hair. I'll then take a plastic comb and brush through the hairs, pushing them straight up and pressing them as flat as possible to the skin. You can also use a spoolie or other makeup brush for this, but I like using the comb as I can really use the flat surface of it to press down the brows. I'll then take a makeup wipe to clean off the excess glue because you only need the glue on your hairs. You can also just use a damp cloth if you don't have any makeup wipes. I'm going to need about 4 layers of glue to glue down my brows, and they need to dry in between every layer. So while they dry, I'll take the opportunity to moisturize and prime the rest of my face. So my inspiration for this drag look is actually season 4, the episode Paper Hearts. I'll include a reference photo here. It's a great episode, and I believe it was the first one written by Vince Gilligan, who famously went on to create a little show called Breaking Bad. With all these subsequent layers of glue, you want to work in upward strokes with the glue stick, not back and forth like the first layer. This will ensure that the hairs lay down well and flat against the skin. I do not have the thickest brows, but they are long and they are straight, and they like to stick straight up and not lay flat. If you need more info on how to do this, because brow covering is one of the hardest things about doing drag, there's lots of tutorials online. I personally reviewed how to do this by watching a tutorial from an AFAB queen called Lucy Garland, and I'll link the video in the description box. Now, envisioning Scully as a drag queen, I thought about how to make her sexier or more overtly sexy, sluttier. Drag is often about exaggerating features, so I'm going to start out by exaggerating my breast, boobs, and titties. Now, of course, Scully always wears higher necklines, but as a drag queen, I thought she might take a plunge, so I'm going to be wearing a deep V-neck under my suit. And to start off and make a blank canvas of my chest, I'm going to do a layer of this Maybelline Full Coverage Foundation all over my chest to even things out. I'm then going to contour just like I would my face using a cream contour product, in this case the Fenty Match Stick in the shade Amber. So like I said, contouring your boobs is, you use the same method as your face. You're going to be adding shadows with a dark color and then adding light with a brighter color. So in addition to contouring my cleavage, I'm also going to contour my clavicle, collarbone, and neck area to be a more similar shape to Gillian Anderson's. If you want a more detailed description of how to do this kind of contouring, I watched a video from Pompberry's channel. She does a cosplay contour video, which is pretty helpful as well. I didn't only just contour my skin, I also am wearing a bra that is a few sizes too small for me, and I've stuffed it with socks to really get the ladies at attention. Alright, you saw me lick my glue stick, which means this is the final layer of glue. And once that's completely dry, I'm going to set the glue by taking a disposable latex sponge and a little bit of RCMA no color powder. Any kind of translucent powder will work, and I am pressing very firmly on top of my brows. So this will take out all the moisture from the glue and will set it in place. And once it's set, I will just dust off the excess. So to further cover my brows, I'm going to do some color correcting, and this will try and offset the blue tone that you see, especially in the front part of my brows. So I'm being very careful to pat the color corrector gently with my finger so as not to disturb the glue. I'm going to blend that with my same disposable sponge, which I'm opting for rather than a beauty blender, as I found when I was practicing this that the beauty blender takes away too much of the product and too much of the coverage. So I'll also lightly take my makeup wipe to remove any excess of that peach color, because I only really need it on the dark parts of my brow. And this color corrector also does need to be lightly set with translucent powder so that it doesn't move around and muddy up or change the color of the foundation that I'm going to put over top. For foundation, I'm going to use the Makeup Forever HD foundation stick, which is similar to the Kryolan TV paint stick, which is kind of the standard stick foundation for drag, but I don't have it. And actually, I've seen Miss Fame do some makeup tutorials online, and she recommended this foundation as a less heavy alternative to the TV paint stick. Again, I'm going to use that same disposable sponge for the same reason that it moves the product around without taking too much off. This took forever blending out this thick foundation, but it's an important step to make sure that we have a good blank canvas to start with. I'm going to start my cream contouring by really looking and seeing how my face shape differs from Gillian Anderson's. So firstly, my hairline is a little bit rounder than hers, so I'm trying to make it a bit more square and angular, and so I'm doing that with my Fenty Match Stick again, and blending it out with a dark beauty blender after that. So with my bone structure, the way that my cheekbones look, they kind of go out horizontally, whereas Jillian's angle a bit more vertically. So this is what I'm attempting to do here with my cheekbone contour. And overall, her face is more narrow than mine, so this angle will also help achieve that as well. Similarly, I have some kind of squareness to my jawline, and Jillian's angles up in more of a V shape from her chin. Thus, I'm painting on my chin strap and trying to carve out my neck a bit. I'll finally contour a bit around my chin and my lower lip, and that's it. The Fenty stick is a nice cool tone which creates shadows well on pale skin, but to deepen it and make it a little bit stronger, I'm going to add a little bit of this MAC cream color base in the shade Sepia. And that will just kind of deepen everything and make it darker and a little bit more warm than the Fenty matchstick. To highlight in the center of my face, I'm going to start with the Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer in the lightest shade. I'm focusing this under the eyes and then pulling the product down rather than too far out towards my hairline so as to continue the narrowing effect of my face. I'll also apply it to the chin, upper lip, and forehead before blending it all out with a fresh sponge. To continue highlighting and to cover my eyebrows even more, I'm going to layer this CoverGirl concealer, which is a liquid, but it self-sets, so it will get matte as it dries. And I find that putting this on top of the Kevyn Aucoin Skin Enhancer helps to lock in the coverage as it does not set itself. So as I mentioned, this look is inspired by Season 4 of the X-Files. And by this time in the series, Scully's look is becoming much more modern and a lot less overtly feminine. The show itself is also kind of reaching its peak in popularity. Leonard Betts, for example, the episode from Season 4, it's totally disgusting, amazing episode. It aired after the Super Bowl and became like a record-breaking episode in terms of viewership. And it revealed to us some huge plot points, like Scully's cancer diagnosis. Okay, hold your breath, here we go with the nose. This is a pretty crucial element of any drag look, but especially for Scully. In all my other Scully videos, I contoured my nose just a little bit, but always said something like, oh, I'm not going to go too crazy, it's not meant to look theatrical or draggy. Well, that was then, this is now, this is drag. So I'm really taking the time to shape my nose to be a little bit more like Jillian's. My nose is about the same length as hers, but is more round and bulbous. Jillian's nose comes to more of a point at the bottom, and she has smaller nostrils. So with that in mind, I'm going to try to make the tip of my nose less round, squaring it off at the bottom and then drawing a bit of a V, and then coming up to make the nostrils a little smaller on the sides. I will then take a white concealer to highlight the bridge, starting with a traditional drag exclamation point nose, but also drawing small little lines to the side, which will kind of represent her smaller nostrils. These tiny little beauty blenders I bought a while ago, but then I didn't really like them for anything until I used them for blending out a nose contour, and they are great for this. Now, keep in mind this is just the base for our nose. We will continue to define it even more later on with some powders. For some final brightness, I'm going to add the white concealer through the center of this face, so under the eyes, forehead, chin, and lips. This e.l.f. concealer is really great. It's a new product for me, but it's really versatile, especially for highlighting pale skin. I managed to find it at Winners because my local drugstores just don't have it, but I'm sure you can find it online through e.l.f.'s website. And now that I am all done with my creams, I can put in my blue contact lenses. It's uncomfortable for me to wear contact lenses, so I wait till the very last opportunity to put them on. And that is, once I set everything with powder, it'll just mess everything up to try to put contact lenses in, so here we go. Everything needs to be set with powder. I started with just a bit of RCMA no color powder on my chest with a puff. But then for under my eyes and all the highlighted areas, I'm going to use a loose powder from Maybelline. It's the Fit Me loose powder. It's very light in color and has a pinky undertone. The rest of my face, I'll just take a bigger brush and more loosely dust some Laura Mercier translucent powder. And that one has more of a neutral yellow undertone and is not as brightening as the Maybelline. I'm going to use that small sponge to pack the highlight powder under my eyes and as well as on my nose to really bake those areas. They'll become more vibrant kind of the longer I leave that powder on there, and any other excess powder can be dusted off. Next, to set and deepen all of my contours, I'm going to be using my Smashbox contour palette. First starting out with the contour shade, going all around my hairline and basically anywhere else I have contoured. And then on a larger, fluffier brush, I am going to take the bronzer from that same palette just to warm up the cheeks a little bit. Another episode from this season that I love is called Never Again. It's a Scully-focused episode. We get to see her go on a date, get a tattoo. Jodie Foster does a voice on this episode. It's incredible. And this really showed Glenn Morgan and James Wong really hitting their stride in their writing for Scully. And she had, just a great, warm, smoky eye makeup look. Season 4 and into Season 5 are the episodes also that I really know the best. Primarily because I was only 8 years old when the show first started. And so it was at that season, the 4th season, that, I became a teenager. The show was just the biggest ever. I was fully obsessed. And then the movie came out. Come on. I'm also going to pay some special attention to further shaping out my nose with that powder contour. Okay, now comes the next kind of tricky part, which is the eyes. I practiced the eyes quite a bit, trying out different shapes and different techniques. And I always found it easier for me to start with the lower lashes, which is a little unusual for drag. But I found that by shading under the lower lash line to create a shadow and kind of build that shape out towards the outer corner, it just made more sense to me. Scully's lower lash line is always very well defined. So I'm going to start to darken that area with a rich brown liner, which will go along the entire lash line as well as inside the eye. And then I'm going to smoke that out even more with a warm metallic brown liner. I'm always sure to blend with my eyeshadow brush after each liner application. So to map out the eyes, I'm going to start at my nose contour, at my new brow bone, and work outwards to draw my new crease. I'm gently patting the shadow on at first so as not to disrupt the eyebrows, and it's going above the natural curve of my brow bone. The goal with drag eyes is to make them look larger and more exaggerated than their original. My eyes aren't drastically different than Scully's, but hers are definitely more of an almond shape, whereas mine are more round. So the overall goal with the eye makeup is to draw the eyes outwards and make it more almond shaped and more alien. So when I'm happy with that basic shape, I'll start buffing a warmer brown shadow. This one is from the Alyssa Edwards Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. And I'll work back towards the center of my eyes, slowly filling in that outer corner or outer V shape. And I'll take that same brown eyeliner I used on the bottom lashes to smoke along the top lash line and to begin darkening and shaping that area. I'll use the shade Back Rolls from that same Alyssa Edwards palette, which is a very deep brown, and I'm going to use that to start really deepening and defining the crease. I'm avoiding any kind of full dark black colors, even though they're kind of a staple in drag makeup, just sticking with warm smoky browns. Also here buffing a warm metallic shadow on top of that crease, really lightly. It doesn't need to be full-on glitter, but essentially I'm trying to recreate this warm, smoky, slightly metallic eye that Scully starts to wear in the 4th season. Prior, she was mostly just a matte shadow kind of gal. For blush, I'm going to use this vibrant shade from MAC called Peaches, and you might have seen this if you've seen my earlier Scully videos. She usually almost always favors a really warm orangey peach blush color, and so I'm gonna apply generously here. Okay, I'm going to fill in and start to cut my crease using this glittery, shimmery eyeshadow stick from Charlotte Tilbury that I got in a buns trade, and also use the very end of what's left in my Stila liquid eyeshadow in the shade Kitten Karma. I practiced this look with a lighter, almost white cut crease, like a very traditional drag eye makeup look. But I liked the way the warmer metallic look of this combination that still has a defined crease that's lighter, but is more in line with the eye makeup that Scully would wear. Scully favors warm browns with a defined crease. And I'm going to take the same brush that I used for the dark brown shadow to then lightly buff out the edges of that glitter so that it doesn't look too harsh and so that it really begins to connect with that dark brown through the outer crease. For an inner corner and brow bone highlight, I'm going to use Makeup or Breakup glitter pigment, which I bought for my last Juno Birch video because she uses it all the time, and it's stunning. I'm going to give my lashes a quick curl, and then eyeliner. I'm using an old favorite Clinique gel liner in the shade Deep Brown. This is an amazing product. I used to use it all the time, and this video made me realize how much I miss using it. I've had it for years and years and years, and it still hasn't dried out. Anyways, great product. That's going all along the lash line and inside the eyes. This will continue to help my eyes look less round, and putting liner inside the eyes, especially on the top, I sometimes forget to do this, but because my upper lash line is so fleshy, it's important to darken that area when wearing false lashes. It just makes the lashes look better. Okay, so winged liner, because yes, we are doing drag, but nothing too crazy because Scully is a modest queen, and this is mostly going to get covered up by false lashes. And, you know, I'm opting to use a dark brown, no black anywhere really in this look, just to keep things a little bit softer for her. I'm building a small wing by looking straight ahead into my mirror and building up the line, giving myself kind of a guide of where I want the wing to go. And it's really trying to be focused going straight out rather than angled up. Now, without adding any more product to my liner brush, I'm going to further cut my crease and darken that line. I'll take the same eyeshadow brush I was using earlier to then blend that cream or gel eyeliner out into the center of my eyes. I think this really helps give more definition and dimension to the eyes, having that sharper, darker crease line. Highlighting now on my cheekbones, helping still to keep the focus on the center of my face, and most importantly, down the bridge of my nose. And I'm being quite heavy-handed with this because we're doing drag. And you know, the fun about drag for me is I get to be as heavy-handed as I always generally want to be with makeup, without looking too Looney Tunes. So because I'm all done with my powders, my skin's feeling a little bit tight and dry, so at this point I'm going to spritz myself with some setting spray before throwing on some mascara. Again, I'm going to use a brown or brownish black rather than a true black mascara. Okay, now it's time to board the struggle bus, otherwise known as eyebrows. No matter how many times I practiced this, I had such a hard time finding a product to draw on my brows with that wouldn't lift up the concealer, foundation, everything that I've got on under covering my brows, and that would not make the glue underneath pill and just look miserable. So you're going to see me use a million different products just to get anywhere, somewhere. You do not need to do this. But if you've got some tried, tested, and true products for drag brows, please let me know in the comments. Be much appreciated. So I'm going to be building up the shape of the brows with an eyeshadow from MAC called Omega. And the first half or so of Jillian's brows are actually quite straight, and then it does angle off towards the end with a slight arch. This eyeshadow alone I did not think was enough, so I wanted to build up the brows a little bit. They were a little too thin, so I'm going to use some different brow pens to draw individual hairs and to bring the brows down a bit closer to my new brow bone. Now, Scully's brows don't match her hair exactly in terms of color. They're usually a little bit darker and definitely more brown than red, like her hair, but they're still warm. Okay, so I got those brows done and I screamed a lot, but they're on. And I've gone and put on my costume and my lashes. I used a pair of lashes from Huda Beauty, and I stacked them on top of a pair of these wispy faux mink lashes just for some more volume. I also got those Huda lashes in a buns trade. The exact style of them I will list in the description box along with all the other products I used. Okay, here we go. Lips. I'm drawing the shape of the lips with an eyebrow pencil as I don't own a brownish lip liner. So Jillian's top and bottom lips are closer in size, whereas my bottom lip is quite a bit bigger than my top lip. So I'm leaving the bottom lip as is and overdrawing the top lip to be closer in shape and looking just full Gomez Adams with that eyebrow pencil. Before I then take this liquid lipstick from Essence to fill in the shape that I just drew. It's a nice warm peachy nude, and it's going to act as a matte base for the rest of the lip products. It's not the exact end color that I was looking for. Scully does sometimes wear a more nude lip like this, but I think she's most known for having more red in her lips. That's typically what you see when people dress up as Scully, so that's what we're going for. To add some more dimension and build the shape of the lips, I'm going to use 2 lip pencils here, both very warm colors. The first one is Spice from MAC, the Spice, which I've used in other Scully videos and is probably my favorite lip liner of all time. And also the shade Rule from House Laboratories, which is a warmer color too, but it's much deeper, so I'm trying to build some more draggy dimension and shape here with Rule and the Spice. Once those liners are well blended, I'm going to use 2 Revlon Super Lustrous lipsticks for that light, warmish red color. Toast of New York and Wine with Everything are the shades. I'm using more of Toast of New York. It's been a go-to Scully color for me for a few years now. And I'm painting them on with a lip brush. These are both cream formulas, so it's going to give me a bit of sheen to the lips without being too glossy. I want to actually keep darkening that lip line for more dimension, and so I've opted to just use that warm metallic brown eyeliner I put on my lower lash line, because that was looking more correct than my eyebrow pencil. Finally, I am going to put just a light layer of a liquid lipstick in a bright red. Just a thin layer. Scully never really wears a full opaque red lip, so with the lighter base colors I put underneath, I think this liquid lipstick works great. Okay, finishing touches. Gotta draw on Scully's mole. It's in a different place than my beauty marks, but I've never been able to cover them completely. So this is what you're gonna get. And yeah, I've already got my gold cross necklace on and my FBI badge, and I'm going to glue some little pearl beads to my ears because I cannot wear earrings. But Scully does usually have a pair of pearls or like a small gold stud in her ears. So I think this was actually very effective. I just took a little lash glue and they stayed on well. Now here she is, the wig that started it all. Now this wig wasn't as big and full as I had hoped it would be when it arrived, so I did spend some time setting, steaming, and then teasing the wig to have more volume in the front and more curl on the ends. And I'll carefully position the wig on my head. This is the first time I've ever worn a lace front wig, so it did take me quite a bit of fussing to get it on properly. I also have a very large head, and even though this is a drag wig, it was still a little small on me. But where I am able to get it to really sit properly on my hairline, I will glue it down using a Q-tip and some got-to-be glued hair gel. I'm then going to add a little bit of extra contour around the hairline to help disguise the lace front a bit. Oh, and I forgot to say earlier, I glued on some false nails. These are some square, thick French tips. Scully wears her nails in the same shape, but, you know, I'm amping her up for drag, making her more sexy and bitchy, and these are the bitchiest nails I could think of. I've got my dark suit jacket, my FBI badge, my allergy-friendly gold cross necklace, my fake toy gun, and I'm ready to trick-or-treat, y'all! Thank you again for joining me on this journey as I turned Dana Scully into a drag queen. I hope you will take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel. There's definitely going to be more X-Files videos and other fun stuff in the works. Thank you so much. Have a happy Halloween.